Well, Kelly, it's great to see you also. We think the number one reason to own Apple right now is simply the second half of this year is going to be very exciting. A lot of innovation. In fact, many people were concerned that coronavirus would slow down their innovation and they wouldn't have a 5G product lineup. We have absolutely confidence that they will have 5G lineups in time for Christmas, and it will be big, and a lot of people will want those. So we think that, plus the work from home move of people doing things remotely, such as you and I, and as well as other guests on the show, are doing things such as buying the Apple AirPods, as well as buying Apple Watch for fitness. And all these wearables are going to set up for a very great Christmas time. So we think the number one reason to own Apple right now is simply the second half of the year, Kelly, is going to be very exciting for the company.
And I can go through those 5 reasons more granularly. You basically just outlined them. Number 1, the 5G iPhone launch. Number 2, expectations are going to reset lower. Potential for share gains and Applewood. I think that's a reference to all of their kind of content plays. Wearables, still high growth, as you referenced with the AirPods and Apple services. Talk about Applewood for a second and the success they're having in some of these media forays.
Well, we know that they've gone into Apple TV, but when we look at the company's global market share, I'm talking beyond the United States and beyond mainland China, there's one particular market that Apple is materially underpenetrated in and materially lower market share, and that is India. They have about 1% share in India. And also when Apple goes into more and more content, we think that it's going to potentially bring a package where they could potentially offer Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Services, Apple Arcade, all these additional things packaged together for a great family experience. So what we call Applewood is their move into India as well as to more content. We see that increasing and quite exciting. And to give you some share perspective, in India, they have about 1% market share, and in North America, close to about 50%, and globally, just under 20%. So when you see that disproportionate low amount in India.
Yeah.
And India has over 1.3 billion people. Yes, definitely some economic challenges in the country, but there's also a lot of wealth in the country too. That's a big addressable market where Apple's moving its manufacturing, some of its newer sites, to be in India so they can produce more affordably and not have the input and tariffs.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
why we think India is a great long-term growth, Kelly, for them.
So what are the biggest headwinds, Jim? I mean, even as we're talking about China and India, there's a border skirmish between the two nations. We don't know what's going to happen with the renewed spread of coronavirus. It's just shut down Beijing and even in some parts of the U.S. here. Are the biggest risk factors for the stock basically another wave of kind of people staying at home because of the virus, slower global growth, or what would you say your biggest concerns are?
My biggest concern is that coronavirus comes back in the second half of the year and we have to shut down the world and the businesses and the retail shops that Apple had to do also. We see that as less likely, but keep in mind is worst case scenario, if we do have to continue to work from home, people are buying more iPads for education. They're buying more AirPods for remote connectivity. People are working out more at home and wearing Apple Watches on their treadmills and around their neighborhoods. So even in that worst case scenario, we still think things are pretty exciting. But in that worst case scenario, the entire market wouldn't view that well. But simply, we're quite encouraged by overall a lot of progress being made in coronavirus. Unfortunately, there are some hot spots that do pop up.
Yeah.
But you are right, Kelly. Coronavirus is our biggest concern overall for all of our tech coverage.